State Representative Lauren Ashley Simmons. I love Progress Texas because of the insight. Y'all give great information. It is our foundation and our core, way to get info for the progressive movement in Texas. We have a large movement here, and people don't always think about that when they think about Texas, but the progress lives here. Progressive ideals are amazing, and y'all do the work to make sure people understand that. Let's turn Texas blue. In Progress Texas, let's lead the way. Thank you so much for everything y'all do. You make my job easier.
It's Monday, March 23rd, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Here at Progress Texas, we built a statewide audience, and we reach millions of Texans monthly, and that's thanks to folks like you who invest in independent progressive media by Texans for Texans. Huge thanks to Leon Baez, David Griggs, and David Sauer for their ongoing sustaining support. We had a terrific time covering both the Harris and Collin County Democratic Party conventions over the weekend. We ran into a ton of our favorite folks, including State Reps Gene Wu and Johnson and Lauren Ashley Simmons from back at the top. Former Congressman and Powered by People boss man Beto O'Rourke stopped by our setup in Houston, and we met all kinds of fun folks nominated for a bunch of races all across the state, whom you'll be finding on your ballots both in May and in November. We have a lot of content to get through, so watch for all that coming your way on our various channels. Thanks again to our friends with both the Harris County Democratic Party and the Collin County Democratic Party for the access and hospitality. Super inspiring weekend all around. If you're traveling by air today, you've got something to watch for at the airport. Security officers working what in many places have become endless screening lines who are not trained TSA specialists, but who rather are ICE agents, known for having been lured with giant sign-on bonuses and a very low professional bar for entry, generally there to kick ass, not to keep anyone safe. The move is clearly retaliatory. Those long airport lines are due to the shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security, cutting the pay and thus the attendance of TSA workers as Democrats demand reform to the manner in which ICE conducts itself in our communities, sending them into our airports, notably airports exclusively in cities with Democratic mayors, and mostly in states with Democratic governors, is a clear escalation, not a move to reconcile, but a move to intimidate. Gary Leff at the well-regarded air travel site View from the Wing posts this morning that Houston Intercontinental Airport is one of 14 airports where ICE agents are expected to begin filling non-screening roles as of today, specifically line management and crowd control, which means that you, dear listener and traveler, if you're flying out of Houston today, could very well end up with an ICE agent in your face about something. Photos we're seeing of these agents at the Atlanta airport do not feature them wearing masks. Leff says your rights are different when dealing with ICE than they are with TSA personnel in a few different ways. ICE agents are sworn law enforcement officers, whereas TSA screeners are not, which means ICE has broader authority to arrest you for federal violations and to conduct searches for general law enforcement purposes, rather than those limited to aviation safety. Unlike TSA staff, ICE agents can physically prevent you from leaving if they've cooked up what they believe to be a reasonable suspicion that you may have committed a crime. And they're also more likely to be protected by qualified immunity if they're later found to have wrongfully arrested you. Just as they have in the field against protesters or citizen monitors, ICE agents are known to use advanced scanning technology to capture biometric and face imaging data, and they have the authority to revoke your global entry or pre-check status on the spot based on mere suspicions. Leff says that legal experts are suggesting that should you end up in a confrontation with an ICE agent at the airport, that you consent only to the administrative search required for boarding, ask if you are free to leave, and if denied, request a specific reason for your detention. One could also interpret all this as a dress rehearsal of sorts for this fall, when ICE goons are likely to be similarly stationed at voting locations for the election, also with the intent of intimidating you out of your rights. Speaking of ICE, Stephen Monticelli at the Texas Observer has an update on a story he broke linking Dallas ICE prosecutor James Rodden to a white supremacist Twitter account with 17,000 followers, known to heap praise upon Adolf Hitler and spew all manner of racist hate. Dallas Congressman Mark Veazey and local civil rights advocates in Dallas have demanded Rodden's immediate termination after he was quietly reinstated last year. ICE's Office of Professional Responsibility has reluctantly confirmed a 120-day investigation, but has refused to clarify whether Rodden has been placed on administrative leave or currently remains on the job in Dallas in his federal capacity of drumming up reasons to deport people. we'll keep following that. There's trouble in Austin this week, too, as U.S. Vice President and eyeliner enthusiast and spokesmodel J.D. Vance is inbound for a visit expected to snarl up our already snarly traffic today and Tuesday. Dante Motley at the Austin American-Statesman says that at the very least, at least one main thoroughfare through the south end of downtown Austin will be closed as of noon today through Tuesday morning at 9. Vance is in town for a Republican National Committee fundraiser, said to have a buy-in of $100,000 per couple. And longtime residents of the home of Keep Austin Weird might think it weird for such an event to be happening here. Those residents would then be painfully reminded that the Texas Capitol is also now the home of the likes of Elon Musk and Joe Rogan. And in this case, Joe Lonsdale, probably our most egregious dark enlightenment tech bro lately, and that's saying something with Elon Musk hanging around. Joe Lonsdale is the co-founder of Palantir, the notorious data mining company now doing everything from mass surveillance to military AI, a guy who has advocated for public hangings in order to prop up masculine leadership, a guy who has characterized social justice protests as organized illegal insurgency, a guy who is one of the primary founders of the garbage right-wing University of Austin, frequently and more understandably confused with the University of Texas at Austin. Lonsdale has also used his Cicero Institute to forward ideas that essentially criminalize poverty via crackdowns on people experiencing homelessness. And now he's also the guy to be mad at when you're late for lunch in Austin this week. With Vance's visit, the douchification of Austin has reached an all-time brand new degree of douche. And he's doing Dallas this week, too. Let's talk Tallarico, which is a lot more fun. We had a great time hanging out with a bunch of the Tallarico team in Houston this weekend. Adam Wren at Politico says an internal impact research poll is showing State Rep James Tallarico narrowly leading both of his potential Republican opponents for U.S. Senate in a hypothetical general election, with a 2-point lead over Senator John Cornyn and a 1-point lead over Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, via data suggesting that despite GOP efforts to label Tallarico as an extremist on issues like men and women's sports and his supposed and turns out fictional vegan lifestyle, here's the issue. People generally hate both of these Republican candidates. Deep unpopularity for both, Cornyn sporting a 33-point favorability deficit, specifically 27% favorable to 60% unfavorable, while Paxton sits at an 18-point deficit, 37% to 55%, perhaps both shocking and telling of the current mood of MAGA. That Ken Paxton is 5 points less loathsome than John Cornyn is, and get this, both are significantly less popular than Ted Cruz, whose face you find in Merriam-Webster under loathsome. Paxton and Cornyn are especially unpopular with independents. No wonder, then, that the dear leader is in a tremulous Tallarico terror. Timothy Malcolm at the Houston Chronicle says a very public Trump-Tallarico tiff has ramped up in entertainment value for sure over the weekend. A clearly tired and poorly coached Donald Trump says Tallarico has, quote, got 6 genders, insults to Jesus, only vegan food, unquote, and more, working in also an attempted insult against Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett by reminding us that she's not related to Davy. All as funny as it is lame, firing back in his trademark cool way, Rep. Tallarico responded to Trump's insult to Jesus comment during a church address over the weekend, countering that true insults to Christianity include, quote, kicking the sick off their health care, unquote, and prioritizing tax cuts for billionaires. Tallarico acknowledges that he's not a perfect Christian. Quote, there's only been one perfect Christian, and he was crucified on a cross 2,000 years ago, unquote. As much as he's been through, being in the direct crosshairs of Donald Trump has got to be a bit freaky for James Tallarico, but it's also a sure sign that he has very much arrived. I'd say congratulations are very much in order. Progress Texas is expanding our top-rated podcast network to include Spanish-speaking media to increase the reach of our progressive messages daily. See the link in the show notes to make your donation towards Spanish media today. Our web store is live and ready for you right now to grab some newly released Humans Against Abbott, Y'all Means All, and Rovolution shirts, stickers, and buttons right now at ProgressTexas.org. Hit the web store, and thanks for your support. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Monday, March 23rd, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Our mission at Progress Texas is to improve and save Texans' lives by acting on our shared bold progressive values, and that starts with countering the billionaire and corporate-funded conservative disinformation machine. Progress Texas is an independent, nonprofit, rapid response media organization. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and a great week. We'll see you again right here tomorrow morning.